Hello, everyone. And before we get into the episode, here is a surprise element. I'm going to ask a few random words to our guest, Hannah, and she has to answer them by sharing what comes to her mind first, maybe a single word or a single phrase. Okay, so Hannah, I'm going to kick off a first rapid fire round with your
Do
consent.
it.
Perfect, let's do it. And first word is career,
Excitement.
invention,
Invention. Fun.
future,
There is a question mark coming up.
book,
Inspiration.
movie,
Entertainment and popcorn.
person,
My little son.
luck.
I don't know, that is more a feeling. Like
Mhm.
it's like a dream, is well deserved sometimes. It's a good feeling. It's more a feeling is coming to mind.
Yeah, indeed. And planet,
We need to protect it.
animal,
A lion. Rrr.
forest, the last one.
Trees. And actually I link it back to the future.
Awesome. And yeah, that was quick and that was funny. Thank you for being so sportive. And also,
I'm not sure it was so funny. I will try my best to do something funny during our interview.
Let's do it because let's mix entertainment and education, and that way people don't get bored with our conversation. All right.
Exactly.
And Hannah, hearty welcome to The Guiding Voice, and thank you so much for being part of our journey. And I'm super excited to talk to you about finding a fulfilling career. And folks, before we get into the episode again, I'll give you a brief intro about Hannah. Hannah is a leading executive and career coach and consultant with over 15 years of international experience in coaching, management consulting, entrepreneurship, and corporate finance. She holds an MBA from NYU, New York University's Stern School of Business, and is trained as a certified coach. Hannah's superpower is making things happen with lots of energy, compassion, and a smile. She works with individuals and organizations, offering them leadership and career coaching, leadership training, and management consulting services. Her mission is to move individuals, her mission is to move organizations and individuals forward by creating the conditions for reaching their goals. With Hannah's help, her clients transform towards confidence, focus, and fulfillment, which allows them to be the best version of themselves and have an impact in the world. Hannah is also the host of the Reaching Your Goals podcast. In fact, that is how we got connected. One of my friends, Roshni Baronia, was hosted there and she referred me as a guest, and it was super experience. I'm going to publish the link to my episode on Reaching Your Goals podcast as well. Do check it out. And if I talk a little bit about the podcast, it is a career focused podcast where Hannah sits down with inspiring individuals to find out what it takes to reach their goals. And you can expect lots of energy, compassion, and candid discussions with everyone from business leaders, academicians, coaches, or entrepreneurs on what it really takes to get one step closer to to living a fulfilled professional life. And Hannah is based in Zurich, Switzerland, and is fluent in English as well as German. And folks, you have tuned into the Guiding Voice podcast series, The Guiding Voice for a Better Future. I'm your host, Navin Samala, a fellow professional and a passionate learner on a mission to make the world a better place to live. And through The Guiding Voice, we drive conversations that matter and conversations that add value to your life and to your career. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Hannah, let's get into the conversation. And before we get started, is there anything that you would like to share with our audience?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me and inviting me. I'm so excited for this because I already know you. So that, it's just like the cherry on top. And for the audience, I'm excited to get to know you as well. So yeah, let's get started and have some fun.
All right, let's do it. And Hannah, here is my standard question because I get inspired personally by learning what is the success mantra of my guest. So please share the top 3 things that have contributed to your success so far.
The number one is hardworking. So that's the one thing I really see again and again. There are no shortcuts. If you want to get somewhere, you need to put in the work. That's the one thing. Then a positive spirit, like really seeing, like having a glass half full has helped me a lot. Because, when you have ups and downs, you still need to find something that seems quite positive so that you can keep going. So resilience would be kind of like the other word there. And the third thing is, purpose. And this is what we will also deep dive in further, really finding something that has meaning for you, because that will also, again, push you and you can have an impact. So those things really help for me.
I think you nailed it. All the 3 aspects, hard work and then positive spirit and finding the right purpose, really immensely helps somebody to grow in their career and achieve a dream career as such, or get into a dream career. Hannah, now before I get into the topic of career fulfillment, I'm really curious. Why did you propose this wonderful topic, finding a fulfilling career? What made you to get into career coaching as well?
When I was thinking about the topic, I know that your audience are students that are either still in the program or young professionals. And in that phase, I think it's very hard to already know what is a career, or like what is career fulfillment, where should I go? And also looking back when I was at that age, I did not know. So I thought that could be something of interest for your audience. So that's where the thought came from. And I like career coaching and really supporting somebody to find their own journey, because I struggled myself. And that's why I know there is a need, and I know we can fix it. I mean, in coaching, we shouldn't talk about fixing things, but we can help somebody to find a better way. And I find it really intriguing when I see that somebody is moving and doing things. As I say, like making things happen is something that is so close to my heart. And when I see that that is really the case, I'm very, like, it inspires me, and that I can achieve with that topic and with that area.
Yeah, I think it is immensely helpful for sure, because as you said, I'm also on the same mission. Like I was clueless during beginning of my career, which track to pursue, and I have to figure out myself with a lot of struggle. And the whole purpose of the Guiding Voice podcast is also the same thing, just that it is an encyclopedia of topics related to career, related to technology, self-help. Just they have to tune in and get insights from the leaders, from the academicians and renowned coaches like you, so that they get curated guidance and they don't have to struggle a lot. So I think that's a match. And now let's get to the first question. Like sometimes what happens is I get a lot of calls from students as well as young professionals, and few of them say, "Hey, I have enrolled into computer science engineering, but maybe because of my parents' pressure or because of peer pressure, and after getting into one semester, I feel like it is not making any sense to me." That is one scenario. Second thing is somebody gets to a campus placement, and since it is again pressure from parents or peers, they think they have to pursue that job, right? And so in both these scenarios, like people are not happy, right? Their either studies or first job are not fulfilling, and they don't enjoy it, and they feel like everything is lost. But is that really the case? Is everything lost?
I doubt it. And I have 1,000 questions for all those scenarios. Like when you say you're not happy, the one thing that we always look for is like, what do you actually know what makes you happy? Yeah. And say one thing I'm always very curious about is like, what does make a person very passionate? Because say if you chose computer engineering or computer science and you are actually an artist and you can paint like Van Gogh, and that is your passion, you know exactly where you want to go because you have this fire burning in yourself. It could also be that you feel all this pressure and you never had a chance to find out what is intriguing to you. Yeah. So there are different scenarios on what is the baseline. But I don't think that much is lost. And also with the computer science, it's a broad field. So the first thing to me is understand what is actually exciting for you, because there could also be a field within the computer science. Say, if you are this artist, maybe you want to go more into graphic design and say animated movies, maybe I'm making this up. And there could be an area where you can combine it. So you need to understand, what is it actually that puts a smile on my face? When do I feel the batteries are charged? and how much of this frustration is linked to my parents putting pressure on me. So it's not really the subject, it's this pressure of expectations that doesn't feel or doesn't sit right with me. So lots of questions to unravel, but not everything is lost. But we need to really see what is inspiring for you and how can we find that in the current setup. And if we cannot find it in the current setup, where can we go from here? Because those people, they are so young and they will work till they are 65, 70, something like this. It's fine to do a little detour if that means you have 50 years of like a good, fulfilling job.
Yeah, I loved it, Hannah. I think within the same branch, within the computer science branch, you have numerous options, numerous subjects, and subfields or sub branches can be explored. And first of all, we need to put aside the parental pressure or somebody else, or the external factors which are influencing. Now, let's move to the next question. You said we need to find the purpose, right? Why should we find the purpose and to succeed in life? And what is purpose? And is there a time where we find that? Like, does it happen during early studies or in between studies or towards the end of studies or early career? Is there a time frame as such?
So first of all, when I talk about purpose, I'm looking at the why you do something. What is the impact that you would like to have? And that impact that you would like to have to really feel it's a meaningful way to spend your time. So we are looking here for the why, which impact do you want to have and making this meaningful. Those are the key words for finding your purpose. I think for some people, like my impression, it's like for very few, it's always been clear. Like ever since they've been little, they've said, I want to be this, and that's it. For the majority, my impression is they're like, I was in my 40s, 50s. And looking back, somehow I knew it made sense. So it's more like looking backwards that things are aligning. But the one thing I hear again and again is the people that understand their purpose, they followed their passion. So they listened inwards. They were like, ooh, when I work with young kids, somehow that is intriguing, that is fun, I learned something. So they do more of it. And then at some point, they're like, my person is to impact those kids that are not having, say, the parental background you wish for and to give them stability. But so a key ingredient for finding is like follow your own passion, like understand really. And I think it's as simple as that. What puts a smile on your face? Like by the end of the week, what is it that you tell your friends about, your parents about? It's like, oh, this week I had a good week because I did this. And those are like glimpses on what is really your passion, where you want to go. And that incorporate. And it's so important because we spend so much time at work. And the moment you do something that feels meaningful, that really gives you sense, and we are all striving for sense, then you like doing it more of it. You enjoy it more. By the end of the day, you're not totally drained and it's like your shoulders are going down and you're just tired and you don't want to anymore. But instead, you're like, oh, that was a good day. I did something that feels like, that was worth it.
Yeah.
And with that, you have a totally different attitude. When you go back to your family, your friends, to your hobbies, you come with a very different energy because you enjoy more. So it's a win-win, but it's always work. It's not just like having fun. It's more like doing something that's meaningful, where you can really be proud of. So one question is, imagine yourself being 75 and you look back. What do you wish you had done?
Yeah, I think that is so powerful. Like, you should not have any regrets, right? At the age of 75, okay, I wish I could have done this. Rather, have that fulfilling thing. Okay. Now,
and because you're saying regrets, I read that at some point, the biggest regret is not having done something.
Yep. Yeah.
And so once we are really like getting, I think if we are in that age, at some point we will be like, oh, I wish I had tried like that startup or changed my job and I was afraid. And this is such a good way of looking at it. If I'm at this decision point, will I regret not even trying?
Yeah.
And sometimes that can push you to put, your skin in the game and go for it.
Yeah, that completely makes sense. And now let's assume somebody wants to find their purpose. And how can they get a first glimpse into it? Nothing but finding out what fuels their batteries.
So when I work with my clients, we usually we use visualization, and visualization, because subconsciously it's already there. It's not something that we make up. It's something that is really ingrained in you, what feels most meaningful. So with the visualization, for example, we put you on a stage and you have this audience in front of you, and you have a chance, or your future self has a chance to impact everybody. Everybody will be changed. And then you try to dig down. It's like, what was the change? What was the impact you had? Kind of like, were you inspiring? Were you a role model? Were you pushing? Like, what was your role in that? So we use visualization to really get out what is already in you. And it can be something like you are on stage, or what is also when we all had probably those peak moments in life when you felt fully alive, like you felt your tingers, like how you say, like sparkling, or you felt like really there was no doubt. You were just full of energy. And what was that moment? And what were you doing? Who were you with? Because that gives you a glimpse on, it's like that is the moment when you are who you want to be, the best version of yourself. And so we go into all those visualizations to really get the essence of what was happening there, and then put it together and play around it. And it's really, and the question that maybe our listeners can also think about is, well, they are still young, but one typical coaching question for that is, imagine like you are on your deathbed and you look back, like, what do you wish to leave in the world? Like, what impact do you wish to have left by the time it's your time to go? And it's really about, is like, what impact do you want to have on other people? And you can think about that. And one thing I also need to add is, nothing you create in like 5 minutes and you're like, I'm done with that. It can happen over a month, and it's also evolving because we are also changing with time. Directionally, I think it will always stay in the same area, but the wording can change and create like, and also when I work with clients, we use a metaphor, like maybe I'm this sparkling diamond shining in the sun that has this impact on people, and it needs to resonate with you. It's your wording, you own it. If you speak different languages, maybe you use Hindu, maybe you use English, whatever feels more like close to your heart, your words. And it's supposed to, and also like the metaphor helps you sometimes if you think visually, like, what is it? Who am I? Like I had once a client and she was like, oh, I'm this animal that's always running a little bit ahead of everybody else. And then I come back and I pick them up. And for her, that visual, it worked so well. It will take some time, but if you start thinking about it, I think you put your brains into work to find your own whereabouts. And as said, think about what are the things that really are like that you have passion for.
Yeah, I think visualization has a great power, especially in terms of law of attraction. That's what they say. You have to visualize things in such a way that as if you are living in that moment, then universe will support you in terms of getting there. So I can totally echo with you on that aspect. And now let's assume, apart from the studies and apart from the job, let's assume nothing can give you or keep you engaged 100% of the time, right? Is there anything else that people have to focus on while on their studies as well as while on their job?
I mean, the one thing, I mean, I'm with you, is like no job will be 100% perfect. You will always do some parts that are no fun. The trick is to find something every single day that feels fulfilling. And even if it's just 5 minutes, but every day you should be doing something that is meaningful. And if you do not find it in your job, you still have opportunities to do it outside. Say you are the computer science person, job is fine, but still your passion lies in supporting the kids, having a better future for them. You could do that as a hobby, and this way bring meaningful activities into your life. So the trick is having that every single day, and it does not only need, like, you can do it outside of your work, and then you can use it maybe 5 years later down the road to kind of merge those, but to find something every day. I think that's the trick here.
Yeah. Again, here also, like in the past few organizations that I've been working for, apart from my day job, I am part of certain initiatives, Toastmasters, wherein people come together and enhance their communication skills. Or sometimes I'm part of volunteer or this NGO activities, right? So which keeps us busy apart from the work, and at times it will also help us divert our attention for a bit. At the same time, serving or giving back to the organization. So I
Yes.
can relate to it completely. And let's move forward.
I
And
mean, you are a role model in this journey of finding your own purpose. Because it's now when I had you on, you shared your a little bit more like your milestones of your career, and you went from this really, I mean, like, and also how you were building up the guiding voice. I mean, you have this fire, this hunger in you to go after having this impact. So people basically they need to follow you. Like, it's amazing what you're doing and what you're building and how driven you are.
Thank you, Anna, for noticing that and sharing it. And let's move forward, and let's assume people are geared up to pursue their passion, and now it's the time for them to get clarity on the required skills and develop those in the current setup. And especially in this environment, the VUCA world, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world, technology is advancing at a rapid pace, like it is moving at a faster pace than ever in the history. And how can they develop those skills that are required to have a long-term career?
I mean, there's two things coming to mind. The one is if you think about the actual skills, I would check what job would I like to have in 2 years, 3 years from now, like maybe picking not the 5 years, the 2, 3 years, and what skills do I need to have for that job? So already having the look at that, or when you see what is changing in the market, is there a new computer language that's important to learn it fast? Like really, so the one side I would say is look in the market, what's happening, what skills are needed for jobs I desire going forward, so that I know where to put my activities, what do I need to learn. And the second thing I scribbled down on my end is you need to have a very agile mindset, because that also means that you need to be a little bit flexible in, okay, this is what I have today, tomorrow I will go there, and you need to feel fine with change. And that can be a challenge. And I've seen that also when I do project work, that changing is difficult for many people, and they prefer, I learned, I don't know, what were the old languages, C++, or whatever. Like you stick to that and you don't want to go somewhere else, but you need to feel it will change, it will be good, and you need to be adaptable and go into those new areas fast. I do not hear you.
Sorry, I was on mute. Most common mistake. Okay, so now let's talk about change. So change is another important aspect, which is essential for anybody, irrespective of whether they are in career, whether they are in business, whether they are in entrepreneurship, whatever. Because change is something which drives us all the time, and we have to positively react to change, or we have to be part of the change, or else we will get washed away. Right. So my question here is how to change one thing at a time, and so that you can have a huge positive impact overall.
I can give you the example from my end. So you shared in the intro, I went from finance into consulting. I mean, that was already one step, and I did consulting for finance. So I kept the finance topic there in the very beginning and just changed, say, from doing internal projects, and now I did it externally. So I didn't change as much as it actually sounds, going from, I was working Procter & Gamble and then going to a consulting firm here. And that's what I mean with going into small steps. Is like, it's easier if you can keep a common denominator that the company knows, oh, she does know finance. She might be new to the project work, but that part we can teach her. And so also in the coaching, we call it the transferable skills. What do you already have? You can bring to the table. And there, to some degree, you can also be a little bit more imaginative to see, what do I have? And one thing to note is companies often say hard skills, I can teach you. If I need you to speak a certain language, I will give you the lessons. But they are looking for the soft skills. Can she lead people? Can she interact with them? Is she somebody who has the values and brings them that we need here? And those things, the softer things, is usually very transferable. Or I was working with a client who wanted to go from more, what was she doing, customer service into project management. And then she was like, oh, this is such a new field. I've never done this. And then we were digging deeper. What if you're a project manager, what are the skills that are important? You can work with your customer, check, you've done this. You are on time, you're reliable, check, you had to as well. So we went through it, understood what are the skills for the new role, and then looked, what have you already done there? And then in the end, there was such a little gap.
Yeah.
So, but again, also in that scenario, we didn't go from painting into computer science.
Yeah.
Where I think that would be a bigger step. So if you do smaller steps again and again, and if I now, just to close the loop, so then I went from consulting into consulting for innovation because I thought that was more fun.
Yeah.
But then I could leverage the consulting part. From there, I went into startup because I got introduced to innovation. I thought, oh, that could be fun. So there was always something new coming. Now back to the consulting. And then I added coaching because I was like, oh, I love working with people one-to-one. I can help them, and did that. And then I was like, oh, if I can reach more people, I do podcasting. So there was always like one element, keeping it, and then moving on the other side. And with that, it's always like been small changes here and there. And this way I went from a corporate, like from a finance person to a podcaster, coach, and consultant. That's what I mean. You can really, small steps will add up.
No, such a great example, and your journey is inspirational for sure. And the way you have crafted your career by following your passion and adding one change at a time, right? It is amazing. And with that, let's move to the next question, Hannah. It's about your podcast, Reaching Your Goals, and I was honored to be featured there. Please share with our audience what is the best episode on your podcast.
But I had this amazing person. His name is Naveen Samala, and that was a wonderful episode. We were talking about productivity. He is a fantastic example for that. So obviously, I have to mention this one.
No, jokes apart, I'm really serious.
No, I have actually. It's funny because I was thinking about that. And after every new interview, I'm like, oh, that's the best one. Yeah. So every time I'm like, oh, the last one.
Yeah.
I have a few. What I found, I had recently one interview on personal branding with Dario Sippos. That is, I think that was a very important conversation to have because my list of my own takeaways and to-dos was really long. So this was how I'm judging it. So that, I think it was a very, very important thing. Yeah. I recently had a super successful female entrepreneur, and that to me was just like this role model. Liz Elting is her name. Because if you see somebody who has done it, you suddenly feel like, maybe we can do it as well. So there are so many. Basically, I love everybody.
Yeah, I second that. It happens to me also. Like I keep thinking about the best episodes on my podcast, and it keeps evolving as we grow, and everybody has a different dimension, different skill sets, and different successes that they have achieved, and it keeps us going and inspiring. So personally, as you said, I also get inspired by my guests first before the community does, and good one. And with that, let's move to the sort of second rapid fire round. So I hope you are ready for that as well.
Hey, born ready.
Superb. Okay, here comes the first bullet. If you could have one gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say?
Let's do it.
Superb.
So I have to quote Nike here, but that really is a mantra of mine. Like before thinking about it too long, just do it.
Just like me.
Yeah, so just do it. That's how we go.
No, just like me. I also don't give a second thought, and I don't rely on opinions of somebody, because the moment you get to somebody with opinion, it gets diluted. So whatever I feel like it is right, I keep doing. Resonate. And what is the best advice that you have ever received?
The one thing that came to my mind is like I did when I first studied. I did a scholarship with Siemens back in the day, and they put everybody together. Somebody high up within the company was giving a welcome speech, and the person said, you can make mistakes, but make every mistake only once. So this learning from mistakes really stuck with me, that I can try things, and it's fine if I don't know exactly how to do it and I don't do it right, but I need to learn from it.
Yeah. It is a killer advice. Very nice. Like you can make mistakes, but only once. Superb. And with that, let me fire the next question. Can you describe yourself in just one word?
Energetic.
Energetic. What is the weirdest thing that you have ever eaten so far?
I mean, when I was once in Thailand on vacation, I tried insects. So, like, I would go with that.
Okay. And how was your feeling?
It was fine. But still,
Suddenly,
I'm a vegetarian. I don't know if back then I was already vegetarian. I think maybe I made an exception just for that.
okay. It's good to try certain things. At least we have something to cherish. Let's move to the next one. And what is one electronic gadget that you would like to see or invent yourself?
Yeah, sometimes it would be helpful if I could transfer my like, make a comment here, set an agenda, like the thoughts to the advice. Like that would be helpful to really, be more efficient, faster. I still probably wouldn't want it because I think it can really backfire, but that would be very, very convenient.
Yeah, good one. And thank you so much for the interesting answers and the rapid fire. Let's flip back to the mainstream. What will be your key message to our audience who are aspiring to make big in their careers?
Have some trust that it will all come together. Like give it time. And while you do that, understand what really fuels you. What are the things you enjoy? And if you are like, I don't know, scribble it down in the evening. Think about like, what are 3 things I really enjoy today? Write it down again and again. And with time, you will see the areas, the topics that you really enjoy. And then try to create more opportunity to have activities in that area. But key messages, have some trust and follow your heart.
Makes sense. And how is it being on the other side of the table, being hosted as a guest, especially on The Guiding Voice?
I like it a lot, but I like it. I think very good questions, and I like talking about this kind of topic. So I really, really enjoyed it, and you made it very, I felt very welcome. So thank you.
And thank you so much, Hannah. It's been a pleasure to have you on this show. And thank you for the time and all the wonderful insights that you have shared with our audience. And keep rocking with Reaching Your Goals podcast and all the career coaching sessions that you have been doing, as well as executive coaching. So, wish you more power. And thank you once again for being part of the journey.
Thank you so much, Naveen. That was good fun.
So, friends, that was our fantastic episode with Hannah. And before we move into the trivia section, here is a request to you. Please subscribe to us in case if you haven't done already. Also, if you have loved this conversation and found the episode useful, please share with at least 3 of your friends or colleagues who can benefit from The Guiding Voice. Thank you so much in advance. Now, let's hop into the trivia segment. Today's trivia is about career. After a powerful conversation about having a fulfilling career, I thought I'll present you a few facts related to career. Did you know that the average person spends about 90,000 hours at work over their lifetime? That's roughly 1/3 of their waking hours. And considering the significant amount of time we dedicate to our careers, it emphasizes the importance of thoughtful career planning and finding fulfilling work that aligns with our passions, interests, and values. So that's why it is important to take the time to explore various career options, understanding our strengths and weaknesses, setting goals, and acquiring the necessary skills can greatly impact our professional trajectory. And by engaging in strategic career planning, we can increase our chances of finding job satisfaction, growth opportunities, and a sense of purpose in our chosen field. And folks, remember, career planning is an ongoing process and it's never too late to reassess and make adjustments to realign or align your career path with your evolving aspirations. And likewise, if you have any tips related to having a fulfilling career, please share them if you are watching it on YouTube in the form of comments, or you can share them on social media wherever you found this episode. That's all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And do not forget to share your topic recommendations and guest speaker suggestions through social media, or you can email me at theguidingvoiceforyou@gmail.com. I'm your host, Naveen Samala, a fellow professional and a passionate learner on a mission to make the world a better place to live through conversations that matter and conversations that add value to your life and your career. Until next time, bye bye. See you all in the next episode with another wonderful guest.